Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Hi again. This has been such a complicated, painful, difficult week for all of us. And I am definitely going to address that later on in this service. But it's also really important to me, to us, that there's goodness in the world, goodness in our lives, and that includes Shabbat. And also, the person I'm introducing you to now, it's my absolute joy to introduce Temple Emanuel to Rachel Mylan, and Rachel Mylan to Temple Emanuel. Rachel is an educator based in Chicago and a song leader as well. We had the pleasure of working together, and it really, really was a pleasure at Camp Newman several years ago. And also, Rachel had done some work for Temple Emanuel when she was a student at Hebrew Union College working on curricula for our youth programming for the High Holy Days. So she is a friend indeed, both to me and to our community. And Rachel, thank you so much for being with us this Shabbat and each Erev Shabbat throughout the summer.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's our pleasure, and we appreciate your presence and your smile and your gift of music. So we are going to begin with Do Dili as we settle into Shabbat with feet planted firmly on the floor and back lifted up, and breathing deeply, and maybe closing your eyes as you sing with Rachel or listen to the music as we enter into the sacred time of Shabbat.
Anilo haroel ashoshanim nodili anilo haroel ashoshanim nodili mizotola min hamidbar mizotola min hamidbar dodili anilo haroel ashoshanim dodili.
It's time to light Shabbat candles. I hope you have some with you. If you need to pause the recording and go get them, you sure can. O source of light and truth, creator of the eternal law of goodness, help us to find knowledge by which to live. Let us take the words we shall speak into our hearts and our lives. Bless all who enter this sacred time in need, all who bring the offerings of their hearts. May our worship lead us to acts of kindness, peace, and love.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen. Let's continue with Shalom Aleichem.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon. מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. אתכם לשלום, מלכי השלום, מלכי עליון. ממלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ברכוני לשלום, מלכי השלום, מלכי עליון. ממלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. צאתכם לשלום, מלכי השלום, מלכי עליון. ממלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא.
And now Chatzi Kaddish.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבי, בחייכון וביומכון, ובחייך בית ישראל. בעגלה בעגלה, ובזמן קריב, אמרו, אמן. יהא שמרה במבורך, לעולם עולם לעלמיה, יתברך. יתברך וישתבח, ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתהלל ויתהלל, שמי דקודשה בריחו, לעילא מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, ושבחתה ונחמתה, תמירן בעלמה, אמרו, אמן.
If you are able to, would you rise, please, for the Baruch Hu, and we will stay standing as we continue directly into Shema, and then we're seated for Ve'ahavta.
Yai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai. Baruchu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. Yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto le'olam va'ed. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם להיות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, הייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם אלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
We recite these words many Friday evenings. How true they sound this week. Sing the song of men and women joined in understanding and respect. The song of God's miracles, an earth protected and cherished, a gift for our children and the generations to come. The song of a land once ravished by war, now quiet and content, her soldiers home to leave no more. The song of a world redeemed, the song of peace. Let's continue with Hashkivenu.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom, Hamidenu Malkeinu Lechai. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom, Hamidenu Shomreinu Lechai. Spread the shelter of your peace over us. Guide us in wisdom, compassion, and trust. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom, Hamidenu Shomreinu Lechai. Save us for the sake of your name. Shield us from hatred, sorrow, and pain. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom, Hamidenu Shomreinu Lechai. Lechai.
Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up waiting to do your will. Baruch atah Adonai, haporeh sukat shalom aleinu va'al kol amo Yisrael va'al Yerushalayim. Let's continue with Vishamru.
Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, לעשות את השבת לדורותם, ברית עולם ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם. כי Chesed Yamim Asa Adonai et hashamayim ve'et haaretz u'bayom hashvi'i Shabbat Shabbat vayinafas Shabbat Shabbat vayinafas.
After Rachel leads us into the Amidah, we'll have some silent time, about 10 breaths worth, 10 deep, full breaths, because we all need to breathe. We all need to slow down. We all need to create within ourselves the world, the peace that the world outside us so desperately requires. If you want more time than that, whether to pray the text of the book or the text of your heart, know that you can pause this recording and take as long as you like. And Rachel's playing of Julie Silver's music, will bring us back together in prayer. Please rise if you're able to as we begin our silent Amidah. Rachel.
Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi agita hilatecha. Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi agita hilatecha. I'll be the light for justice. I'll be the light for love. I'll be the light shining in the dark. Even when we've seen enough, I'm gonna wake up every day and be a light where I stand. Reach out my hand, I'll be the light for justice. I'll be the light for justice. I'll be the light for justice. I'll be the light for love. I'll be the light shining in the dark. Even when we've seen enough, I'm gonna wake up every day and be a light where I stand. Reach out my hand, I'll be the light for justice. I'll be the light for justice.
We know how very many people are hurting this week in so many different kinds of ways. And even as we read aloud the names of members of our community and our loved ones, we are praying as well for all those who are hurting this week, today, in the streets around us, in our nation, from all that ails them. As a Temple Emanuel community, we are praying especially for Shotzi Abramson, Nanette Barkis, Rita Beckman, Dina Bedak, Denise Brown, Antoinetta Caputo, Denise Chandler, Dawn Cole, Jessica Ellsworth, Liz Fairman, Susan Fiore, David Foreman, Ricky Lynn Gans, Ed Geffner, Michael Glass, Corey Gustafson, Emily Harris, Deborah Harris, David Hollander, Lee Hawkins, Tirza Haywood, Beverly Jones, Janice Calden, Marilyn Calden, Helen Kaplan, Bella Katzen, Stephen Katzen, Jeffrey Keene, Jack Lamphere, Stephen Loeb, Daryl Lerner, Nelson Lerner, Nancy Levy, Jack Lichtman, Andrew Marks, Aileen Matlow, Jerry Mavronak, Karen McKinney, Stephen Messer, Fiona Michael, Jennifer Mills, Audrey Muscali, Jessica Novak, Wendy Nudell, Leticia Pangumpalan, Robert Patterson, Ronald Peck, Roz Perlman, Howard Ragwin, Rachel Rubenstein and family, Nancy Salson, Lori Sellis, Jeffrey Craig Scheidel, Leslie Shahar, Devin and the Sharma family, Roger Sosha, Annie Stern, Gerald Traxler, Linda Traxler, Judy White Hinkle, and Lucy Wright. Let me ask you to say aloud the names of people you are thinking of, but not just names. If there are causes or places that need our healing energy, I want to invite you to share those with us, to say those aloud now too, as we enter into Debbie Friedman's Misha Berach.
Misha Berach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength who blessed the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Misha Berach Imotenu Mekor HaBracha Le'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
Amen indeed. What a week. What a year. It's like we are living simultaneously on a volcano and on a glacier. Everything is extreme, both hot and cold. Our cities smolder and our passions burn, while our jobs freeze up and our lives seem to move in slow motion. Tears and tear gas. There's no equilibrium, no sense of balance or normalcy or fixedness. It's terrifying and it's hard, and I fear it's not going to get better anytime soon. We need to brace ourselves and pace ourselves. It is true to say, and also perversely ironic to say, we need to breathe. This week, police violence against Black people, Indigenous people, and all people of color has come once again to the national awareness in a way that even the most law and order among us cannot deny. Watching that video, what human being couldn't feel Mr. Floyd's subjugation and exhaustion within their own body? Imagining a knee on their neck for 8 minutes and 45 seconds. Who couldn't empathize with the despair of a grown man calling out mama? Who didn't imagine themselves to be his mama, standing by, powerless and anguished as the life drained out of our child? This is certainly about police action, but it is too easy to finger law enforcement and excuse the rest of society. Over in Central Park, who didn't see plain as day how whiteness can be weaponized against Blackness? How privilege means believing the rules that govern the world don't apply to you? That it conditions us to believe that our generally easier ride is somehow deserved. It is absolutely true that good people can have differences of opinion over protesting and looting. I decry that. But let's not mistake the trees for the forest. This is not about a few nights of looting, as horrid as that is. It is about centuries of the worst possible oppression. Broken glass can be replaced. Broken bodies and broken dreams cannot. We are taught in Leviticus, do not stand idly by the blood of your fellow. And that's what many of us have been doing, getting on with our lives, delightful and stressful, unique and normal, while our fellow Americans suffocate and bleed. We've been so consumed by our own problems, problems that are real and personal and challenging, that we haven't seen the bigger picture of what's going on. And so we're waking up. This is what it has taken to wake us up. Many of us are getting deeper understandings of the state of our nation this week. To be clear, some within the Temple Emanuel community have always known. Jews of color and our family members of many backgrounds and ethnicities have always known. Temple Emanuel is heterogeneous, thankfully. In this regard, there is no us and them. And some are learning that racism has many faces. It is not just about attitude, how I feel about them or treat them, but about the unconscious biases we all hold. These are both real and impactful. It is also about the institutionalized structures that maintain an unlevel playing field and unequitable results. And we're learning that if we're not racist, we've got to do the work. That work is both personal and communal. Personally, we need to educate ourselves, to read and to listen to good sources, to open our hearts and minds to the experiences of Black people, Indigenous people, and all people of color. We've got to take the real, meaningful actions to dismantle the systems of oppression, including actions that we don't turn around and promote on social media. We don't get kudos for doing mitzvot. As I said in my video last week, I don't have standing in this conversation to tell you what actions to take. There are many articles and lists readily available. You can find, consider, and select something positive to do. Whatever step you take, it is time to put your shoulder to the wheel. Communally, we need to get to work. Temple Emanuel is only a small community, but it is our community. Our choices impact the people around us, and we exist within the wider contexts of the Southeast Valley and the national reform movement. Towards that end, the Social Action Committee is beginning work on a course of study and action regarding social justice. Please let me know if you want to plan or participate. If there's any upside to COVID, it's that it'll be easier for us to attend those workshops. You'll get more information through the synagogue. Further, I invite you to explore the quality offerings at the Religious Action Center of the Reform Movement, rac.org, rac.org. You'll find opportunities for learning and action there. The RAC has made racial justice a cornerstone of its work for decades and recently rededicated itself to this cause. At Yom Kippur, we refrain from eating in order to tap into the pain of our own mortality. At Passover, by contrast, we eat maror to gain empathy with the pain of others. What for, if we don't activate that empathy when people around us are suffering and they are telling us clearly about their pain, that they want and need our actual practical support? Isn't that why we left Egypt? Here's what I notice when I leave the house to go grocery shopping. Folks are giving each other wide berths, generally. We look who's there before heading down the aisle. We slow our roll when another shopper comes past. We step away from the apples to sneeze. It's common courtesy and common sense. Isn't that what we all need all the time? A bit of space to do our own thing, to be our true and fullest selves. The ability to breathe without being stifled. The ability to live free without other people imposing themselves upon us, without rules that stack the deck against us. This thing that we claim so readily for ourselves and yet deny our fellows instinctively, systematically. Abraham Joshua Heschel recognized the bitterness that exists within the human condition, and also the sweet succor of support that we can offer one another. Morally speaking, he said, there is no limit to the concern one must feel for the suffering of human beings. Indifference to evil is worse than evil itself. In a free society, some are guilty, but all are responsible. It is beyond time. With a deep breath and a pause and supreme humility, it is time to offer Kaddish Yatom, our mourner's prayer, acknowledging the personal losses that each of us feel, that each of us has suffered. If you are mourning for a loved one, if you are observing their yortzeit, let me ask you to say their name aloud now. And if you are able to rise as we offer Kaddish Yatom, I'll ask you to do so now. Join with me, please. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabba. Be'alma divra cherute v'yamlich malchute. B'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayedecho beit Yisrael. B'agala uv'izman kariv v'imru amen. Yehi Shmei Rabba Mivorach Le'olam Olmei Almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal Shemedekudsha Brichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tush bechata v'nechemata. Da'amiran be'alma ve'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya. V'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru amen. Ose shalom bimromav. Hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru amen. Zichronam livracha. Their memories are a blessing to us. Ose shalom bimromav. Hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'yimeru amen. Let us conclude our service now with this beautiful piece of music, this beautiful prayer on wings by Rabbi Menachem Creditor, Olam Chesed Yivaneh, reminding ourselves, infusing ourselves with the spirit of building a new world from the destruction we see around us, the broken glass, the ashes, that a new, better world can be built, and that we have an obligation to build it with the chesed, with the loving kindness we feel within us. Olam Chesed Yivaneh.
Olam Chesed Olam Chesed Yivaneh Olam Chesed Yivaneh Olam Chesed Yivaneh I will build this world from love. You must build this world from love. If we build this world from love, and God will build this world from love.
May that music, may this Shabbat, may our Jewish tradition and our shared humanity inspire us to build a better world. Rachel, thank you so much for sharing this evening with me and with us. And thank you everyone for taking part in our Shabbat this evening. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.